Alex Eala returns to PH after Hong Kong Open run, ends season at career high. Manila, after a hard-fought campaign at the Hong Kong Open, tennis star Alex Eala is back home in the Philippines for a very short break to recharge and celebrate a remarkable year. Eala shared a set of serene photos on Instagram featuring the tall volcano, captioned, "I always find my way back home Philippines," with Ben and Ben's Ride Home on its track. On her Instagram story, Eala also gave fans a glimpse of her homecoming comfort, a plate of kakanin. Her return follows a spirited round of 16 finish at the Hong Kong Open, where she pushed Canada's Victoria Mboko to 3 sets in front of a large, cheering Filipino crowd. Despite the loss, Eala ended her 2025 season on a high note, achieving a career-best WTA ranking of number 50, a major leap from her position at number 140 at the start of the year. The young ace will return to the Rafa Nadal Academy in Spain for training before turning her attention to the Southeast Asian Games in December, where she is set to represent the Philippines once again. For Eala, who has spent most of the year competing across the globe, her latest post says it all, that no matter how far tennis takes her, she'll always find her way back home. Alex Eala stepped off the plane to a familiar warmth, a blend of Manila humidity and the unmistakable embrace of home. The terminal buzzed with the usual noise, families reuniting, students returning for a break, travelers rushing ahead, but somewhere in that blur was a quiet celebration. She had not come with trophies dangling from her arms, nor with the flashy fanfare of a champion's parade. Yet the moment was significant. She was returning from the Hong Kong Open with something just as valuable. Her season ending at a career-high ranking, the highest she had ever been on the global stage. This season had been a marathon of grind, sweat, confidence, doubt, growth, and breakthroughs. It was the type of season where the numbers only told half the story. The ranking was a symbol, yes, but behind it lay a journey measured in endless training sessions, early mornings, nights spent reviewing match footage, physiotherapy routines, and a stubborn belief that progress was possible even when fatigue and pressure pressed hardest. At only 20 years old, Eala had already carried the weight of a nation's sporting hopes, sometimes quietly, sometimes loudly. Filipino tennis had found in her something rare, not just promise, but proof. Proof that talent from a country without grand tennis academies or a vast professional circuit could climb, compete, and belong among the world's elite. In Hong Kong, she played with a steadiness that had taken years to cultivate. Her footwork was sharper, her reactions more instinctive, and her tactical maturity clearer. Even in matches that didn't go her way, she held her composure, adjusting, recalibrating, pushing forward 1 point at a time. Tennis is not only about who hits harder or runs faster, it is a sport of patience, resilience, and the mental quiet to think in the chaos. This year, Eala's mental game had blossomed as beautifully as her forehand. Her return home was not the end of a journey, but a pause before another ascent. She walked through the airport without hurriedness, greeting familiar faces, airport staff who recognized her, fans who waited for a glimpse, coaches who had flown back with her carrying equal parts exhaustion and pride. Her parents were there, smiling with the kind of warmth that comes from supporting a dream that had demanded years of sacrifice, not just financial, but emotional. They had been beside her since her first junior tournaments, the stressful visa applications, the school adjustments, the cultural shifts of training abroad. Back at home, the atmosphere felt different. Softer. She could breathe. She could rest. For the first few days, she did not pick up a racket. That was intentional. Recovery is a skill just as crucial as hitting a clean backhand winner. She slept more than she had in months. She ate her favorite Filipino dishes, comfort food that reminded her of childhood, sinigang, pancit canton, mangoes so ripe their sweetness nearly stunned her. But a curious thing happens to athletes. Rest eventually becomes impatience. By the 5th morning, she found herself walking toward the court, racket bag slung over her shoulder, not because she needed to train, but because she wanted to feel the strings in her hand again. The court in Manila wasn't the polished hard court of an international stadium, but the familiar echo of the ball on its surface stirred something in her that no ranking could define. There on the court, she reflected on the year. She remembered the losses, especially the ones that stung. Those were the matches that taught her the most, the ones where she had to ask herself difficult questions. Was she prepared enough? Focused enough? Strong enough? Each answer had shaped her training and mindset, steadily transforming hesitation into conviction. This season had not been about perfection. It had been about becoming. And that was why the career-high ranking mattered. It was not just a milestone. It was a marker of upward trajectory, a signal that the work was working. The Philippine tennis community felt the ripple as well. Young players watched her and saw a path where previously there was only hopeful imagination. Local coaches spoke her name when motivating kids on the court. If she can reach that level, you can too, if you work. She had become an example not in theory, but in reality. In the coming weeks, she would meet with her coaching team to review the year thoroughly. They would break down match trends, evaluate her physical conditioning, set new targets, and plan her tournament schedule for the next season. But for now, she allowed herself a gentler pace. The country had seen many athletes rise, but what set Alex Eala apart was her quiet consistency. She did not chase attention, yet the spotlight followed. She did not speak of dreams as abstract futures, but as actionable goals. Every season had been built step by careful step, and now she stood on a threshold where the possibilities were widening. She knew the road ahead would not get easier. The higher you climb, the stronger the opponents, the heavier the expectations, the narrower the margins of victory. But she had learned how to stay anchored. She had learned to trust herself. For now, she stood on home soil, grounded, grateful, and aware. The season had ended, but the future stretched ahead like an open court. The ball was in her hand. The next serve, entirely hers to decide. And she was ready.